I went to Florida A&M, who was also established in 1887, and I was very proud on the Hill to tell them folks, we are the first 1887.
The first.
The first, the oldest black incorporated municipality in America. Everywhere I go, Eatonville, Eatonville, Eatonville. I don't see that yet. How do we get there? We show them the value. We show them what that black excellence looks like. We show them those Rufus Brooks. We show them those Mr. Otays. We show them those Cecil Allens. We show them those people that made us proud to be Eatonvillians. And then we articulate what it was that they told us to make us proud.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your main man, the great debater. Y'all want all the podcasts. We got a real special guest for y'all today, man. Been waiting on this. Like I told y'all in the little what's the name, this one gonna be epic. We got my main man Pitt, we got Big J Root, and sitting right over here, this lovely lady, Miss Ruthi Critton, the mayor of Eatonville.
Yeah. Y'all give it up for Miss Ruthi Critton. Mayor Ruthi.
All right, so before we start off, how everybody doing? How your day been going? What we looking like?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Complaining ain't gonna change nothing. I'm Gucci. Everything good.
PIT?
Great day. Greater than it was yesterday.
Change.
Yeah, changing the narrative.
All right, well, let's jump right into it, man. Pick what you got for us.
Man, the day we coming at y'all today with First Lady of Eatonville, Florida, 1887, oldest black town in America. And first thing we would like to ask you, Ruthie, who is Ruthi Critton outside of politics?
First and foremost, a mother, 2 beautiful babies, primary job, full-time, overtime, all the time. Very down-to-earth, next-door neighbor kind of girl, lover of music, of learning, of reading, proud Eatonvillian.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Okay. Secondly, can you describe Eatonville in 3 words?
Standard of excellence.
Ooh.
She was waiting on the answer that, didn't he?
Elaborate, please.
Standard of excellence.
And this is a very biased opinion. Eatonville is a testament. It's a beacon. It's a representation of what happens when we do it right. It's not perfect, but it's perfectly ours. And it is a model, not just for Eatonville's future, but for the future of black towns in America, black communities in America, what it looks like when we are resilient, when we work together, when we prioritize the community and its residents. It's a standard of excellence. 1887 represents initiative. It represents determination. It represents consistency. It represents sacrifice, all culminating to excellence. We've had plenty of heydays, and there are plenty more in front of us. And so we, in my opinion, are the bar. Standard of excellence.
Yeah. I gotta agree with that to my wholeheartedly, because I made a statement some time back on Facebook about that I felt, in my opinion, that Eatonville should be the when it comes to black excellence, it should be the measuring stick across the globe, America. When anytime it comes to black excellence across America, the measuring stick that they're using to compare black excellence should be Eatonville, Florida.
Absolutely. Even when you look back at some of our not so great days, it's still a metric. Mm-hmm. It's still a metric to say what we did right, what we did wrong, how we get it right moving forward, and what not to come back to. It's a standard.
So with that being said, what's a way that we can come together and improve the excellence?
Unity. That's the first thing.
First key.
You have to have unity. And
you got to get back to the point where we all right with each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
I wouldn't even say that we all right with each other, but just having a clear understanding of where we trying to go.
Yeah.
because everybody not going to agree on how to get there. But if we can agree on we need to get from here to there, either we gonna go under the fence, over the fence, cross the river, walk around the river. But we all have to have a mindset of this is where we trying to go.
I agree. I think it starts with listening. I think unity is the foundation of it. And when you identify how you unify, even through differences, it's listening. And I said this throughout the campaign that a lot of the issues that we do deal with in the town come from individuals or voices being overlooked or dismissed. We're not supposed to agree. That's what the dais is for. It's for the collaboration of different perspectives. For example, how do you get to Kennedy and Wymore? It's 4 ways, right?
Yeah.
You can come from Lee Road, you can come from 414, you can come from Lake Avenue, you can come from Forest City Road, but it all leads you to
That corner.
that corner.
Yeah.
So if the understanding, if the unification is we're trying to get to the corner of Kennedy and Wymore, then it becomes let's listen to how we get there. If I'm coming from Oviedo, then maybe I'm not taking Lee Road. Maybe I'm taking Lake Avenue. If I'm coming from Pine Hills, maybe I'm taking Forest City Road. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the direction that I'm going in. That's the path that I have right now, but it's still leading me to a unified place of Kennedy and Wymore. We hear it's 1,000 ways to skin a cat 1,000,000 times, but the reality is those differences actually make us stronger. You might not be a mother of 2 children, so your perspective might be different, but rearing children and parenting might be the unified goal. And so a collaboration, a conversation, listening to one another allows us to figure out, okay, well, you come with the belt, I'll come with the book. Yeah. It allows us to collaborate. The differences of opinions should not be run from. We shouldn't be running from, I don't agree with you. You don't need to. Tell me what your perspective is and how we collaborate to make that great. The Democratic side, the Republican side, they all come to Congress. They all sit down to put the best ideas from both sides on the table, and then we move forward in a unified direction. So even in bringing us back together, even in unifying us, it needs to start with listening, for sure.
Listening to who?
Each other. Listening to each other first and foremost.
It can't be like no my way or the highway.
Right. Democracy doesn't work like that.
I want to say, this is a quote from Malcolm X. He say, "We the people have made the ultimate mistake of mixing the objective with the method," and that's pretty much what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And we all going the same place. You know, the method and how we get there. If you got to have a common goal, a common sight, something that we have in sight that we hold dear, and as long as we on that path, that we'll reach that. But we argue methods and lose sight of objective. You know what I'm saying? So our objective is to bring that black excellence to our town.
Now, I got a question for y'all. All this is from Eatonville, right? All us around the same age. So we all came through, we was raised by Mr. Brooks, basically.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Ruthi C. Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
So
Principal. My
question is, when we was coming up, one thing that was established in us was we was proud to be from Eatonville. We felt like we was different than anybody. We felt like we was up here. You see what I'm saying? But
he put that in us though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say raised by Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, he had us growing our food. We actually got to eat what we grew. He made us pair up with a young lady. You had to pull out that chair, take that tray. If he said your name and holler hit the stage, you already knew what it was.
But the reason why I asked that is, and this is directed to Ruth, the mayor, do y'all feel that the youth is just as proud to be from Eatonville as we were? And if they not, then how do we switch that?
My answer to that is I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Not in the capacity that we describe it in. And just some background on that. The tattoos, the T-shirts, the songs.
Yeah.
Eatonville, where I live, where I stay, 1887 Wood.
Yeah.
that was a loud, boisterous, proud expression of Eatonville and where we came from. I went to Florida A&M, who was also established in 1887, and I was very proud on the Hill to tell them folks, we are the first 1887.
The first.
The oldest Black incorporated municipality in America. Everywhere I go, Eatonville, Eatonville, Eatonville. I don't see that yet. How do we get there? We show them the value. We show them what that Black excellence looks like. We show them those Rufus Brooks. We show them those Mr. Otays. We show them those Cecil Allens. We show them those people that made us proud to be Eatonvillians. And then we articulate what it was that they told us to make us proud. We incorporated this. We established this place. There is value in that. We own this. We're not just a neighborhood. Respectfully, we are not Pine Hills. We are the town of Eatonville.
That's what you say
We
all
are.
the time.
Yeah.
We have a different set
Yeah, all
of
the
privileges
time.
and rights that come along with responsibilities, but there is a difference. There is a value in being an incorporated municipality that gets to make its own rules and make its own policies and make its own community for its constituents to live by. There is value in that, and the children and the youth, they need to see that. And so whether that is the MLK parade, whether that is career choices, whether that is weed and seed, whatever that looks like, whether that is Rufus C. Brooks, whatever that looks like, that's what we need to articulate to the children, to the youth, to make sure that they understand the value. And then when they see the value, the same way they value the Gucci and the Yeezys, and you see a brand, you see a name with that. Eatonville is a brand. So putting the value on that brand should incentivize them to be proud. That's our responsibility.
And this is one thing that I would like to incorporate, and I feel like it will extend the standard of the Black excellence. I have a landscaping company, and I would like for other landscaping companies that's from our community to come together. Let's knock out 100 yards. I'm talking about in one day, we'll knock out 100 yards in the community. And I've been throwing this at different people. And one person owned a roofing company, and he was like, if y'all do it, I even throw in a free roof. So he willing to come through the town and scout out who need roofs and throw in one. He say maybe two. He say, but at least one. So I think once we do that, it'll motivate other communities, you know what I'm saying, to like, man, we got to show that our neighborhood is beautiful, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be like, so we, like Councilman T. Mac, he put together a community cleanup day once a year. I think it's the first week of June, I believe. So anybody that's willing and able, if y'all up to it, the door open.
Additionally, if you think about the roots of Eatonville, it was internally based, if you will, village based. We took care of each other. The bread man fed the community. The gardener grew the crops that the community came and picked and used, and we did those things for ourselves. Not that there is anything wrong with going outside the community, but we took care of ourselves first, on both sides. If I'm a roofer or if I'm a landscaper and I'm outside the community, I might charge full price. But for the elders of Catalina Park, you get an Eatonville discount, an Eatonville rate. If I'm doing service for the town, the contract that I have with the town is beneficial to both the town and to myself. Even if I take a couple dollars off the top and I say I'm going to do this service for the benefit of my community, I'm still building my portfolio as a business owner to go back and to say, hey, Winter Park, hey, Lakeland, hey, Lake Mary, this is what I've done in Eatonville, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I did it for them for the Eatonville rate. You have to pay full price, and that's okay because I'm a business owner. However, I'm taking care of my community with my resources.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Clark had the pineapple farm. They had the lion porch where you could come and get your collard greens, and then you can go on and catch you a story on the front porch, and you could go on home. You didn't have to leave to go to Maitland, to go to Publix, even if they have the best fruit. You could get it right here in the town of Eatonville.
Yeah.
You understand? So the village mindset of taking care of one another, bringing that back is absolutely paramount. Supporting local economy in the town of Eatonville is absolutely paramount. I encourage anybody that is a business owner, even aspiring, to come find out how you can grow yourself and your business right here in the town of Eatonville while meeting the needs of the community and building yourself and your business. It's a win-win.
That's what's up.
So, no, my bad. Go ahead, Pat.
Now I'm gonna say a lot of that. I know the root of the yay or nay from people would be the financing, the fund. You know, gas don't went up. You know, so they build. You know, they gotta sort of readjust and whatnot.
But from what you saying, that charity stamp, because you speaking on giving. To the hood.
Yeah.
So the cleanup concept that's giving back to
Giving
the hood.
back. But I'm just saying, not to segue.
When she say, okay, I'm gonna take this off the top because you get this discount. Both ways is something that it got to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we got to encourage people there not to feel ashamed.
But
Because there's a lot of things that done happen. We got to see how to write stuff off. See, I write something off. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I feel violated by a person or I feel some type of way about a person that we may have had a collision in the past,
Yeah.
we might not rock every day, but I go and write it off so that we can continue going this way. And it's some things that people, I ain't studying Eatonville. People have that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because of stuff that they went through previously and not knowing how to directly separate y'all individual isolated conflict from your overall objective. And we got to know how to see the difference, you know what I'm saying, in that. And then that'll help us still move forward. Because people holding isolated stuff against the whole hood. That don't make sense.
Benefit?
It benefits nothing.
No.
So that's like saying you got to learn how to reconcile, even though you know the relationship won't be restored to what it used to be. But we can reconcile for the greater. You know what I'm
Something
saying?
bigger than
For the
you.
greater good.
We dealing with something that's bigger than us.
But you know, it's
individually.
other cities and towns throughout the country that they don't have a problem with doing it because of the funds that's available to them. You know what I'm saying? So like with Eatonville, I don't feel like, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I don't feel like we get the funds that all these other cities get. So how do you compete with large cities for the funding?
You have to leverage your assets. Is that question directed at me?
Yeah.
You have to leverage your assets. Somebody asked me once, how would I market Eatonville? And that's where that pride comes in, because I will 1887 you down. I will play the violin. I will sing the Joe Clark song. I will sing the Zora Neale Hurston songs to put that value on Eatonville, which in turn should incentivize you to invest in it. If I go to you and I say, hey, we're the oldest incorporated Black municipality that is self-governed in the United States of America. We in and of ourselves are history. The same way you would pour into Charleston or Savannah or Virginia, you should pour into Eatonville. Leveraging the same way we leverage Zora Neale Hurston. We leverage Zora every year to bring people to the town of Eatonville off the strength of culture, off the strength of arts, off the strength of heritage. That's a marketing point. So I'm picking everything in Eatonville that can be marketed and saying, why wouldn't you invest in this? Why wouldn't you pour into something that is already great and help it sustain its greatness? I'm leveraging assets quickly.
Okay.
I know you can't say this, but I know we feel this way. They don't give a damn about us. They don't give a damn about Eatonville. They try to come in. They want to pick us apart. They want to be able to plant their own seeds to where now the roots of us done died out from the weeds and we done withered away. Me and Root and Pitt, we talk all the time about our generation basically forming a street team to really go out and speak with the younger ones like, this is why Eatonville is important. Root had a plan. You want to
About what?
about the street team, about how to
No, that's
youth
not-
is
that's
supposed-
Power.
At Pie Fest. Clarence.
Clarence.
Yeah.
No, but man, you was speaking about this before I even heard Pi had that.
Yeah.
It was
I
about 3
don't know.
years ago.
Yeah, I mean, because I used to be screaming, you know, you got to put your boots on the ground and you know, do your grassroots concept. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was coming from. It just
Okay.
grassroots every day. You know, your boots on the ground, and you teaching the youth. You know what I'm saying? So when the youth see that you're proud about your town, you know what I'm saying, they'll be proud. That was about bringing back that attitude that we used to have, and that confidence that we once had. But now, on what you just said about they don't give a damn about us, I don't care. Who don't give a damn? Eatonville is the oldest African American municipality in the United States of America.
I'm glad you said that.
And so what that means is this only for the citizens of Eatonville, or is this something that belongs to the black man in America?
It got to start with the citizens of Eatonville first.
Has to.
But it
Right.
was
But-
always something that
so,
belonged to everybody.
People that's
belonged.
investing, like if you saying, like when she was mentioning, okay, you should invest pour into Eatonville, you know what I'm saying, like you pouring into Savannah and other places. That statement is to who? Us, right?
Both.
Both?
Inside and out. It is
No,
both.
but I mean, like, is it to white tea America or black America?
both.
Both.
Because and that
But
leads
I
me,
think we need to encourage, in my opinion, black America to understand that they're just as much as a part of Eatonville
Absolutely.
as the citizens that's in Eatonville. You know what I'm saying? And we'll pool resources and more things will be poured into us because people understand that, yes, Eatonville is a self-governed black town. Yeah, I may live in Orlando, a black section of a YT town or city. You know what I'm saying? But this town is your town too. And I don't think people outside of Eatonville understand that.
That's because we dropped the ball on really passing the knowledge down. That's how I feel. Because, bro, all our generations, we knew the importance. We knew the impact that Eatonville had on the generations before us. They don't know the impact that it had. You know what I'm saying? Like, Eatonville used to be the educational hub for past the 4th grade, right? Like,
Yeah.
anybody in Florida, if you want an education past the 4th grade, your family moved you to Eatonville. And
Right.
whatever household you moved into, mama and daddy said, this your cousin. And that's why we known for calling people cuz. Like, that's your cuz. What up, cuz? What up, cuz? People don't even know that part of it. But yeah, people coming from Fort Meade, St. Pete, Tampa,
Yeah, Fort Myers.
You had
Jacksonville,
them come from New York.
everywhere coming
For
to get education. And if it wouldn't have
Jersey.
been for Orange County blocking Miss Bethune, BCC would have been in Eatonville. That's the only reason it's in Daytona, because Orange County stiff-armed her.
I ain't know that.
and even when you talk about, because I went to A&M, and for the students who went to Edward Waters, went to Flomo, went to Bethune-Cookman, you come from, after you've been educated, you come from a cohort of black professionals. So even when you say outside of Eatonville, I'm saying to all my friends at the School of Architecture, all my friends at the School of Journalism, all my friends at the School of Arts and Sciences, all my friends at the School of Pharmacy, come take stock in Eatonville. You graduated, you got your degree, you got your good job. Why buy a house in Lake Nona when you could buy a house in the oldest black incorporated municipality in America? You're going to get that cookie cutter, real pretty $500,000 house on that sliver of an acre of land when you could come to Eatonville and get you a bigger lot and a house. You can build up, you can build out, you can build more house, but you can't build more Eatonville. So you should bring it here. If you're a black professional, why wouldn't you? And you might have reasons, but if we're talking about investing in Eatonville, it does start, of course, within the community. It starts with us marketing ourselves outside of Eatonville, bringing that value outside of Eatonville. But then it also means that we go get our counterparts that can meet some of the needs of the community and we bring them here. And then in turn, if we do have to go to Orange County to get a little grant money, if we do have to go to the state, if we do have to go to the Department of Historic Resources, because we're entitled to those resources, then we do. We fill those gaps where they need to be filled. But it starts with us. It starts with us saying, hey, it's lit here. Come see for yourself. Come buy a business. Come over here and buy a building to host your business out of. As a Black professional, marketing directly to ourselves first and then going outside. It doesn't necessarily mean let's go full on YT, even if they don't care. We don't need them to care.
No,
we need to care.
What I'm saying is, I don't care if you care, if they care.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
It
Like, I
doesn't
agree
change
with that.
the
They
day.
don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying we're gonna take care of us.
Absolutely.
But what's gonna help it make it easier for us to take care of us is when people. If we look at the Black Panther movement, what happened? Brothers and sisters flocked from all over America to join that movement and help it become what we know it to be today, or what we've seen it at its heights. Every movement that we've seen throughout time, it was people that flocked from around the country, sometimes the world, that helped that movement skyrocket.
Yeah.
Our people. So I'm saying that has to happen by us all just helping people outside of Eatonville, Black people outside of Eatonville, gain a pride for Eatonville just as much as the people in Eatonville has that pride. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
No, I totally agree. It starts at home.
Yeah.
It starts at home.
But the caveat with that is, when they during them times, the obstacle that we face now is when they was unifying, it's because they had a physical foot on their neck. These generations don't have that. So we have to come up with another creative way.
They got a figurative foot,
Exactly.
a symbolic foot.
Yeah, but they had a physical
It's what
foot. So
Yeah.
it's almost like they ain't have no choice. Today, they have more distractions, and then they have a lack of understanding of really the power of coming together, because it's being preached to them every day. Gimme, 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 gimme. Push back, push back, push back. So that's the obstacle. I think that we would have to come up with a better way to show them the benefits of coming together.
So it sounds like it's just like a lot of disagreeing. Like they don't agree with our ways, we don't agree with their ways.
Even back then, they didn't. If we been 100, they didn't fuck with Martin Luther King. They was like, man, you don't get your ass on with this shit you on.
Who did?
The blacks back then,
Some of them.
majority of them didn't.
He had a whole lot of
can't
them
put a
walking
number
with
on
him,
it.
bro.
No,
I
but
can't
this
say
what I'm about to
majority,
say.
bro.
This I'm
I'm
about
not
to
saying
tell
that
you why.
majority
people
on that.
did
I'm about to
disagree
tell
with
you
Dr.
why.
King, bro.
I didn't say disagree. I said
You
they
said
didn't fuck with him.
majority.
You said they.
I said
didn't fuck
majority.
with
I'm gonna tell you why.
You can't say that.
I'm about to tell you why. You gonna let me tell you?
Tell me why.
Because Martin Luther King wanted them to join forces with white people.
In the beginning.
Listen what I'm saying. No, that was his whole push.
No.
It's a
Right,
great
right,
switch.
we
We
understand
understand
that.
that.
Before he got
But
knocked
it
off.
don't
But
matter.
it was too
you
late.
still can't
Listen what
say
I'm saying.
that
Listen what-
they
you gonna let me-
didn't
you gonna let me
fuck
tell you
with-
Before he got
Yes, sir.
knocked
Go
off,
ahead,
he
tell
was
me.
on
You know,
that.
let me
Let's
tell you why
spend
they
our
fuck with
money
him.
together.
Tell me.
They didn't want to fuck with him because they felt like we good over here. We got our own cab companies. We got our own restaurants. We got our own hotels.
They understood
and you talking about,
independence. We see that.
you want us to go
Integrate.
fuck with them? They were like,
Yeah.
man, get your ass on. They didn't fuck with him like that.
You
man.
saying they
You
did,
said
but you
I
can't
majority.
said
say
majority
You
of
can't-
black people didn't fuck with him.
I say majority of Black Panther-minded people
No,
didn't
no.
fuck
I
with him.
just listen what I'm
No,
saying.
independent-minded people that wanted to stay segregated and on their
That's what Malcolm
independence,
was on. Malcolm
Wouldn't
didn't want to.
stand on on that logic of integration.
That's
You know
what
I'm saying?
Malcolm
Even
was on,
Zora
bro.
said this. I don't see the logic of going. I'm paraphrasing now. She said, but it does. I don't see it doing us no good to just be going crazy about Brown versus Board of Education. Because she was saying like she always learned in Eatonville. You know what I'm saying? So to sit next to somebody in the classroom, she's like, it don't do me no good because I get to sit next to this white person in class. You know what I'm saying? She said it don't move us forward, basically, in so many words. And I understood where she was coming from. Right. And a lot of people turned against her for that statement, but it was her understanding her independence, our independence, you know what I'm saying? And standing on our own. So the integration concept, there's a lot of people I know disagree with integration. So I'm not saying that. Well, you just put they.
I said majority.
Yeah, you said majority.
I know, I'm standing on that. Majority of blacks back then.
We ain't got no statistics, so I can't argue right now.
Nah, this is why I disagree with it. Because on the tail end of Mr. King, he was not on what he was on in the beginning. It was like that bulb clicked on and he said, you know what? We finna pull our resources. He was preaching, spend money with each other, stop spending money. He was on some boycott shit. And I think that's what led to him getting knocked off.
But he had 4 years of preaching, let's get together, and 2 months of, I ain't really on that. That ain't enough.
And in them 2 months, them folks said, boy, since she ain't on that no more.
He already planted the seed.
Then this what it is. Yeah, he planted the seed. I ain't denying that. He did plant that seed. Bro, but he also tried to plant a whole nother seed that said, Brown, spend with each other.
If we saying Brown versus Board of Education, that's 1954. So majority of the civil rights movement was through the 60s. So when they said integration, Dr. King basically saying, if this is our right to have equal access to America as everybody else, then you got to give it to us. It wasn't that he was just saying, you got to treat us, we want to be down with you.
That's what he did.
Brown versus Board of Education had passed in 54.
That's what I'm saying. But that's exactly what he did.
The argument of integration basically was post 1954.
Listen.
So basically, what he said,
the original civil rights.
I mean, excuse me.
I'm doing the same thing. Wait, Mayor.
What is he saying?
The way I understand it, and I wasn't there, and I don't know all the statistics, but I think that the intent was equality. Don't tell me that I'm not entitled to something that your very own Constitution says that I am. Don't call me less than a person because my skin doesn't look like yours or because my hair doesn't fall the way yours does. If I'm entitled to something as a human right, then let me get it.
Every human, inalienable rights.
And I think that at some point or another, there was the epiphany that what we've been asking for or what we've been articulating, they say, be careful what you ask for. It might not have been at some point or another, because the message did shift at some point. What we had originally been asking for might not have been what you're giving us or what we thought that we wanted. But I think the fundamental request was, don't deny me what I'm entitled to. There are a lot of theories and articles that speak to the impact on the Black community as a result of integration. When you look at HBCUs and PWIs, we lost tons of athletes to PWIs because of integration and things like that. There might have been some good that came out of it, but for the most, maybe fundamentally, but for the most part, we did have strength within our community. If you look at Hannibal Square, we're not necessarily saying that we want to be on the other side of the track. We're just saying, if we come over there after the sun go down, don't stick the dogs on us. We're saying this street runs through the entire city of Winter Park. We ought to be able to go on that side of the track without fearing for our lives or feeling like we're not going to be able to access the resources that our counterparts might be able to access. So I think that the desire for equality fundamentally was always there. But understanding the reality of what you're asking for with integration or anything that came after that and how that impacts the economics of what we've already built, because we had to be dependent upon one another, that might not have been what you might have been asking for originally. And again, I wasn't there.
Okay, let me break this down. I want you to. I'm break this
No,
down.
because before you break it
What
down,
you trying to break down?
I'm about to break
before
this
you break
down.
it down,
This.
understand
Tell
this.
me
You don't even know what I'm about to break down.
No, I'm saying, I'm
I'm
asking
glad you
this.
asked me.
What is
Listen.
this? What you finna break down?
When I'm talking about, we talk about solidarity
Yeah.
and standing on our own and separation,
Yeah.
independently, right?
Yes, exactly.
We know that we was in better shape during that time. You know what I'm saying? Because if we protected our schools, even though they may have been poor, and although if we protected it from then to now, like our lives depended on it, we'd be in better shape. I think.
I agree.
But water fountain, you spit in it, I break your jaw. It's just that simple. You won't spit for 6 weeks. It's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? That's the result. That's the way you address it. That's how you address disrespect. You disrespecting me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give you dish it out, I'm gonna give it right back to you, see if you can take it. That's just that simple. I'm not arguing against solidarity. What I'm saying is King was arguing a message that was basically saying, if I'm entitled to it, give it to me.
That's what I'm about to. That's what I'm about to get into.
Not saying that people didn't disagree with King. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying when you just say they didn't fuck with King,
They didn't fuck with him.
you just throw it. That means everybody didn't
No,
fuck with King.
that's. You see what you just did?
That's
you
the
see what
same
he
thing
just
I've been
did?
saying the whole time.
You said everybody. I didn't say everybody. I
said
used
majority.
You said majority.
I was specific. I
said
said
majority.
no. I said
But how
they
could you-
didn't fuck
you
with
can't
him,
even prove
and then I
majority.
came
That's
back
why
and
I'm
said
saying you can't
the
say that.
majority. Listen,
I'm saying
I'm
why
about
you
to break
can't
this
say
shit
that
down.
is
Break it
because you
down.
can't
Hold
even
on,
prove
hold on.
majority
Let-
right now.
Let him
Prove
break it
majority.
down, bro. Let him break it down.
Prove majority.
I'm about to. So, the original civil rights was filed in South Carolina by 4 women, 2 men. They was all school teachers. They was the original ones to file it. It had nothing to do with us integrating. It was strictly for blacks in America.
I agree.
That was it. It ain't had nothing to do
Yeah.
with black and brown. It
Yeah, I
had
agree.
nothing to do with minority or none of that. They handpicked the NAACP, the 4 white boys that created it. They handpicked Martin Luther King. It was a reverend already. They told him, no, we can't use you. Just like with Rosa Parks. They handpicked her because the girl who was going to be the face of it was a teenager that had a baby out of wedlock. And they say it ain't going to be no good look. They used him and hijacked, and the blacks back then knew that he was going against the grain of what the original filing was for the civil rights.
Okay.
That's why I say they didn't fuck with him.
Now, you read Message to the Grassroots by Malcolm X?
No, I read his autobiography. I didn't read that.
Right, but this one of his speeches and Message to the Grassroots.
Okay.
You can look it up. They actually got the audio on YouTube.
He said I was right.
Oh yeah, he said that.
Okay.
But it wasn't about that. It was he came and said that they was taking money. King and Abernathy, and he said all these people was taking money from federal government to go and produce a particular message. And in this message, he was saying that it's a good speech. I mean, it's entertaining. I mean, Malcolm will be him, but he was saying how they hijacked the March on Washington because the people, American people, like kind of what he's saying, was already finna push on Washington, and they put King over it, according to Malcolm, according to this speech, to keep things under control. But they was splitting up hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. He said he had the receipts. I never seen the receipts, but that when he was speaking, that's what popped in my head. That speech, Message to the Grassroots, from Malcolm X, and they had their differences. But my thing is this: what we have to do for the future is when we in situations. I don't care how much we at odds with each other in terms of what you say, philosophy or opinions, or how we feel about something. We still can't get to the point where we turn against each other, because the moment we do that, we lost. It's the battle lost.
I agree.
The battle lost. For real. But I do understand what you're saying. I just was like, when you say they, I didn't want you to just.
Cause he don't like when I say they. He hate when I say they
Nah,
for
but you
whatever
said
reason.
majority, and I don't agree
but
with that
listen,
majority of people didn't rock with him
we all
because we
went to school.
don't know.
When you teaching the curriculum, it's always they speaking on the majority. It's always. They'll say America is a Christian country because majority of the people here
Are Christian.
is Christians. But we know everybody's not Christian. That's why I always say, hey,
Okay, then. So moving
got
on with this next course. That was some good feedback on that, though.
can y'all say I was right?
I still don't agree with the majority.
Okay, well, I'm
I
gonna be
think
quiet.
I
then.
think it was split. I don't know if it was 60-40, 70-30, but I do
I
feel
can't say
like
you
it was
right
a-
if
it-
I don't have no facts.
It was a large group of us that rocked with Malcolm version, and it was a large group that rocked with Dr. King version. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say who linked. I think now if you look at certain areas like West Coast versus the South, you know most of Florida, Georgia rock with Dr. King.
Southeast.
You know most of West Coast, New York, I feel like they was rocking with Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I can't put the emphasis on as a whole. Now, what's the biggest challenges that Eatonville facing today?
That's another objective question. Because if you ask different people, they will say different things. For me, in the 7 to 8 years that I've been active, you said 3, right?
Man,
Just biggest.
Yeah, what's the biggest? And you can name however many.
For me, it is neighborhood stabilization and finances. And I say neighborhood stabilization because according to the property appraiser, we are what they call a rental community, meaning owner occupied is lower than non-homesteaded homes, which would imply that you have renters in our community versus homeowners. So for me, considering that Eatonville was incorporated off the back and off the premise of ownership, that's not a statistic that is favorable to the identity of Eatonville. Ownership led to incorporation. You had to buy the land in order to receive the right to vote, to incorporate those things back in 1887. So home ownership is a very big issue for me. Right behind that would be finances. And then that is primarily based in what we use to operate the municipality. We know that we are heavily tax dependent, that our budget is heavily property tax dependent. And there is not as much revenue coming into the town to sustain us or to balance us out so that we are not as tax dependent. And then that leads to business and economics. We know that that's few and far between compared to what we've seen in the past. And all those things play together. When you have homeowners, if you're not a bed community where you're only living here and you're leaving to go do everything else, when you are able to live and work in your community, you can stabilize it. When you have a balance between ownership and business economics, you can stabilize a community. So for me, neighborhood stabilization is the biggest. Right behind that would be finances and a direct correlation to business economics.
The business
and
economics to
employment.
deal with that food desert.
Absolutely. That's a huge problem for business economics as well, but it's not just food. I mean, you don't want to oversaturate a community with restaurants, right? You don't want all
not
restaurants
I'm
and
talking
nothing
about
else.
groceries.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Fresh produce in general.
Yeah.
Again, Eatonville is an agricultural community, fresh out the orange groves. So being able to grow your own crops, eat off the land. I mean, if there is no Publix, then how do you eat? If there is no Walmart, no Aldi, how do you eat? How did they eat before?
Off the land.
Off the land.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of bartering.
Right. So in addition to, and that's economics. So in addition to owning that land, whether you live on it or work on it, owning that land, and then in turn being able to leverage that land for the stabilization of the community via business, via food, those things go hand in hand. All three of those things work together. So for me, it's definitely starting with the ownership and the stabilizing of the neighborhood, which leads into those finances and that business mind. Even when you say food desert, I mean, you don't want you don't want a Miss Kim's on every corner.
No, I don't want that. I'm saying we need groceries.
We do. In addition to some other things, we had the gas station, we had
Right.
the hair salons, we had the boutiques, we had, the barber shops, and not just those things. I mean, car dealerships. I mean, we can go down the list. The list of industries that small towns benefit from is huge. We can put what we want to out there. Beds, hospitality, so your hotels and lodging and all those things, tourism spots, destinations for people to come to see, to visit. Those things, they help the finances, which help the ownership. So for me, it's definitely those. Those are my top three.
So I got a question for you. We in 2026, right?
Yeah.
So let's say fast forward 2046. What is your ideal look of what Eatonville, where you would say we good?
Increase in home ownership. Revenue in excess. And full blocks.
What does that mean?
Businesses on the corner, destinations, of course. But if I'm being specific, and it can go either way, right? Like,
No, this is your vision. If Mayor Ruth Critton write it down and say, this is what I would like Eatonville to look like 20 years from now, what would it look like?
I'm gonna give you my list. So of course, home ownership. I want an increase in home ownership. Right behind that would be quality of life. So, your wellness facilities, your recreational facilities, your access to resources. So let me just give you a list of things. So you have like your sports plexes, and you have your gyms and your basketball courts and your football fields, things that we've had in the past that have allowed us, your medical facilities, whether it is not, we have to be realistic. It's a small town, so we don't need per se an Advent Health on the corner of Kennedy and Wymore. But you remember Community Health Center right there next to Lakeside, where you could go in there and you could get a sliding scale of benefits and services from your personal care, private care physician or primary care physician or a dentist, having access to those things. Of course, the educational components, your schools, your after school programs, your recreational facilities that cater to the kids and those needs. And again, then your businesses. I mean, the boutiques, the restaurants, the grocery stores, the gas stations, the salons, the coffee shops. I mean, we can get real creative with what the commercial side looks like, but having those there, lining Kennedy up, there used not to be a spot blank on Kennedy Boulevard. Right. Filling that up, whatever we want to see, not just me, what the community wants to see. Additionally, so you have your home ownership, you have your quality of life, then your economics and your employment. Costco was known for employing the whole hood, right? Everybody had a job at Costco. Yeah. Some of them still work at Costco. Shout out to them. But jobs available right there in the community. Like we were talking earlier, you might have business owners that are in the community. You own a landscaping business. Can you hire a neighbor? Can we bring business owners here that will hire internally? Right. I want to see that. Historic preservation. What can we hold on to that looks like Eatonville? And then last but not least, something for the kids to be proud of, something fun. So, and this is just big wish list talk right here, okay? No, year-round carnival. Y'all remember the carnival that came right between MLK and Zora?
Yeah, we talk about that.
January was popping. January was big for the town of Eatonville.
I said that was a goal. Mm-hmm. I said that was a goal of mine for us to really bring that back to the field. Yeah. That carnival, bro. We had a good time.
Speaking of the field, the Dr. Phillips situation, how that benefit the town with Dr. Phillips?
Or do it benefit the town?
Development benefits the town. I won't pretend like the name doesn't matter. I won't disrespect the community like that. They feel how they feel for a reason. We've been through things as a community that make us cautiously optimistic. Jesus is calling. He's on the main line. Let's tell him what we want.
Yeah.
I think that regardless of who is developing that property, it needs to be developed. Would I like for it to have been Eatonville? Yes, 70 years ago when it was first purchased. I would have liked to have bought it back immediately instead of waiting 70 years to fuss and cuss about it. But I think development on that property is what's important. Now, if we have to take the lemons as they are, then somebody needs to go next door and get the water, and then somebody needs to go to the other side and get the sugar so we can get some lemonade stirred in here. And when I say that, what I mean is if they are coming to the table, if our hands are off this situation, if we don't have a dog in the fight, let's go worst case scenario. It has to happen, right? Let's just say that that's the worst case. It has to happen the way that it is now. Then how do we get what we want? Should be the next question. If the milk is spilled, I'm not fussing with you over who spilled it. I want to know who's cleaning it up, and then are we continuing on with the meal? So how do we get what we want? I don't believe you get that without being at the table, without demanding respectfully. We was raised with manners.
Mm-hmm.
And then you attract more bees with honey than with vinegar. So how do we collaborate to get what we want? Development in Eatonville is not bad at all. As a matter of fact, that's what this whole conversation has been about. How do we bring back the Eatonville of old? Development. That's a no-brainer. The field is empty. I ride down Kennedy and my son looks over and says, Mommy, there goes my school. He goes to Hawk Haven. Mommy, there goes my school. You're saying that because there's nothing blocking your view. 94, 95 acres is wide open with nothing there contributing to the town at all. So I'm not perched on Dr. Phillips as much as some of my residents and constituents might be, but I got my shoe on, so where's the neck? How do I keep my foot on the neck of anybody that comes into that community saying that they want to develop something? How do I position myself to benefit in every capacity? For example, and y'all fuss at me in 4 years, former Mayor Gardner started the Business Academy, the Mayor's Business Academy. Mm-hmm. The intent of the program was to position us so that when these contracts start rolling down, after they do start developing that land, we're first in line. Where we're already certified, qualified, licensed. We're doing that now so that when the milk is spilled, we're ready to clean and keep going. So that when the lemons are dropped off, we have the sugar and the water ready to move forward. Again, I'm not caught up on Dr. Phillips as much as I am on what that land looks like once it's developed and who's at the table in the process of ensuring that it's developed. And then I think we also need to remember that as an incorporated municipality, we're not a neighborhood. We have rights. So we control different components of what happens in that community. We're in control of the comprehensive plan. We're in control of planning and zoning. We have a council that gets to voice the concerns of the community. We need to leverage those things.
The reason I bring that up is because it's a common conversation every day when you just out walking, sitting in the park or whatever you may be doing. People have questions about the land.
Absolutely.
And how it's going to be. And they sold the land. They did this. This is an all the time thing.
Yeah,
and
outsiders a throw.
I need to be able to. I need you to give it to me or give it to them, like in a manner that's so simple that layman's terms, break it down so that they, because I can't explain it to them because I don't know. I ain't read no plans. I just know that I remember I heard Councilman Max say, hey man, I don't have a problem with Dr. Phillips. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He had a problem with not knowing what was going on. And several people spoke and said the same thing. Councilman spoke and said the same thing. I remember, Rod was the vice mayor?
At one point, when he left the board, he was the councilman.
Okay, well, I remember when he spoke and he said similar. Like, hey man, this happened, I didn't know. But I don't have a problem with Dr. Phillips. So that in my mind, I was like, okay, they don't have a problem with Dr. Phillips. Okay, what is Dr. Phillips offering the town of Eatonville that the councilman don't have a problem with it? You know what I'm saying? But they had a problem with you being blindsided. So it got to be some good to what the Dr. Phillips is bringing to Eatonville. And I don't know what none of that is. So I would like to be able to share that, or if you can share some of that with the community, you know what I'm saying? As they watch this, they'll be able to know
Absolutely.
what Dr. Phillips offering us.
So I think it is important to acknowledge, and I'm smiling because I'm choosing my words. I think it is important to acknowledge that council. Okay, we chose them to make decisions, and so an opportunity to make a decision should have, in theory, been afforded to them. And one of the commitments that I've made for this administration is to collaborate with the council, because this is not Ruthville. This is Eatonville. And so collectively, again, the good, the bad, the ugly, put it all on the table. We'll sort through what's what, and we'll make a collective, unified presentation. So I want to acknowledge that the feeling of being left out was loud. And again, method versus objective comes into play here as well.
Right.
But for moving forward, I want the constituents to know that I sat in all those master planning meetings, all of them, boring or not, whether I had something else better to do or not. I sat because I needed to know what was being said. I didn't want to hear it from the grapevine. I mean, the street team is amazing. I love being able to go back to the Domino's table and tell Checker Fred what's happening down there at Town Hall. But there's nothing like being there. When I went to those master planning meetings, I advocated for at least 40 residents. So I know it might seem like, based off the sign-in sheet, that there weren't a lot of physical people there, and there weren't. But in spirit, Eatonville was represented to some capacity. www.envisioneatonville.com, ENVISIONEATONVILLE.com, gave us an opportunity and a platform to voice those desires, those opinions, those wants and needs. And again, being at the table is what makes that difference. So from what I do know, Dr. Phillips got a copy of, or took a copy of, the draft of a master plan that was created by the architectural firm, took that to OCPS and said, they have kind of articulated what it is that they want to see. It's not final. Nothing about that document is final. The former council people, as well as myself, will tell you that it has not been officially adopted by the town of Eatonville. And Dr. Phillips is alleging a collaboration. So it would imply that the conversation is still happening, which is why we need to be at the table. If this is your draft, then you go back and you redline it. You say, okay, well, we do like this. The planner say that can't go there. We probably need to incorporate this. Oh, we forgot the grocery store. Oh, okay, well, what about the such and such and such and such? Coming to the table is how those decisions get made. One way is that Envision Eatonville website, where you can see the pretty pictures and the little blocks all around the town. And it's not just for Hungerford either. It's for the whole town. That master plan is not just for the Hungerford property. It encompasses the whole 2 square miles that we call Eatonville. But looking at that document to say, we don't want no hospital over here. We want a grocery store. We don't want an early learning center. We want a recreational facility. Coming to the table to voice those desires is going to be paramount to what that looks like. And they still owe us a visit. Dr. Phillips is scheduled to come back to speak with the council soon. Don't quote me on a date. We're gonna make it happen real quick. To try to finalize what that looks like. But how can this council finalize that without the voices of the community, the continued voices of the community? Because what was discussed, this is April, what was discussed 5 months ago, 6 months ago, might be different today. So continuing to come to the table makes a huge difference. And I need the community to know that I might can take some of what you're saying down there, but it can't be articulated. Checker Fred can articulate for Checker Fred. He can tell you exactly why he want that table down there.
Right.
He can tell you exactly how many times a day he gonna come out there and play. I can just tell you Checker Fred said he want to check a table.
I'm glad you bring up Checker Fred. I got to get back to Checker Fred because I got something. I remember, the old man under the tree.
Yeah.
And a lot of counseling, that concept is no longer in the community no more. I don't see it too much in a lot of places. But the under the tree thing taught young men a lot. You know what I'm saying? And in the black community. And losing that concept for me, that hurt a lot. No old man under the tree.
Yeah.
Because they going to give you some game and some wisdom, man, that you just got to have
Prepare
as a
you
young
for
one
life.
coming up. Huh?
It'll prepare you for life.
Yeah, man.
decisions.
And Checker Fred, I like that name. That's
Now,
valuable.
speaking on, when she was saying about the business academy, that was sort of like the first step to having people be prepared for opportunity. They say preparation plus opportunity equals success. So it's ways that we can continue to help prepare for what's to come.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But we have to be willing to receive it as well. Instead of being like that, I'm just coming down full 14. I don't want to know the Lee Road way. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really got to open our mind, let it be more broader to receive different directions to get to the same destination.
And we got to understand, too, that she said she sat in the meetings, whether they was boring or whether they was live. She sat there because she wanted to know what's going on.
Right.
So that means what I'm hearing is that Eatonville, the people that's in the park, under the tree, whatever, you need to get to the meeting.
Whether it's born
or not. You need to know what's going on.
One thing we can't
because
be blinded
it's too many.
to
It's a lot of
bruh.
complaints, man. There's too many complaints. You can't argue for me.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You don't see what I see. We got on two different sets of lenses, so you don't see what I see. You know what I'm saying? You can't. The people can't expect for Councilman Mack. That's T Mack. We grew up together. That's my homeboy.
He automatically know.
He automatically know. You can't expect that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to be involved.
Exactly. That's why I'm finna say, like, I'm looking at self. When I look in the mirror,
Yeah.
I'm a resident by heart forever.
by blood.
Yeah. But just like, I don't live there no more. But I ain't too far away to come back. Now we'll go to the meetings. You know what I'm saying? And I don't slack off of it. Guilty. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like another thing that people that's in my situation can do, consider buying property back. Consider bringing your business, that brick and mortar, back. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I do consider from the heart, for real, for real. But I understand what you're getting at. The more of us that do that, because when we was going to those meetings, one question I specifically asked that developer, do you plan on building any schools? And he said, no. And I said, do you plan on building any affordable housing? He said, no. I said, how many houses or how many residents do you think go come after your development is done? And the number what he said was greater than the number of people that can vote in the town of Eatonville.
You lose power.
So if you bring in that many people,
they got other ideas.
Yeah,
then you finna really have the first whatever mayor of Eatonville. And that's one thing that we could prevent through being prepared for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I think another important component is something that you said about, coming back. And there are a great number of people who have left the community and not been incentivized to come back. And then when the opportunity presents itself via death, grandma has passed on, instead of saying, okay, let me move back to Eatonville, let me buy grandmama's house, we're selling grandma's house.
Yeah.
I don't care if you lived here in 1887 and 1987. You can come home. You can come home. Better you come home than a stranger come home, right?
Yeah.
So if we want to talk about keeping Eatonville, then Eatonvillians need to come home. And
In
I'm not
some
saying
type of way.
in some capacity.
Yeah.
Whether that means you're coming to the council meetings and you no longer live here and you're raising sand because of the way it used to be, or whether you still live here today and you're raising sand because of how it is now. You need to be there. They need to see you. They need to know, because when you open up that door, you can't control who comes through it. So I think we think back to when people got pushed out of Winter Park and they migrated over to Eatonville. There was a certain class of people that did that. You know, it was predominantly Black people that did that. Nowadays, because of the value that it is to live in Eatonville, anybody with a right mind is going to say this is more affordable than this. So why wouldn't I go over there? But us as Eatonvillians want to create and maintain space for some of us to come back home. I went to A&M and came home, and at first it was like, I don't want to stay at my mama and dad's house. No, I want to go live in, the West Side. I want to go live off Kirkman. I want to go to Windermere. Well, do you? What's over there? Property, houses. You can get that in Eatonville. Come home, and then you can control who's here and who's not.
Yeah.
But if you allow people to come in because you're not paying attention to make decisions that affect you being able to come home or affect what this place looks like, then what gripe can you really hold? When you come in there, and Councilman Mack will tell you, they get at that lectern and they get active. They say all manner of things. And they're entitled to it to some degree because either you grew up here or you currently live here, but you're here. But you're here now. So there's an opportunity to be heard. You have to come to the table. I don't care if you've been gone 20 years. You remember Ponchos.
Yeah.
You remember the carnival. You remember the Tiger store. You remember Mr. Lee at the Red Stove. You remember when the fire station was right there next to Macedonia. You remember.
Yeah,
you do
Mr.
remember.
B's and the Rainbow.
Mr. B's and the Mr. Reed's
Mr.
store.
Roy's store.
Yeah, Mr. Roy's store.
You remember.
Both of them down there in Carolina, and when he came
On the east side.
on our side.
What's Buddy used to fix the lawnmowers?
Across from the Red Stove?
No, on the other end. Where Kim's at now? That used to be a lawnmower repair shop.
That
man.
was.
I forgot his
aged me
name.
out.
though.
Yeah, that was.
And Mr. Glover too.
Mr. Glover. You have these
sure was.
classics that should remind us of how great life was in Eatonville and why there is a reason to come back. But without that, you do have people that are not from Eatonville, that don't understand Eatonville's story, that don't understand Eatonville's plight, that doesn't understand the injustices that have occurred in Eatonville because people haven't dealt with us or haven't wanted to deal with us or haven't wanted to invest in or allocate resources to. You have those people that are dictating what Eatonville will look like in the next 15 to 20 years. And for me, that's crazy. For me, a fifth generation descendant, a fifth generation resident, I want my son to see the Eatonville I saw.
Right.
Notwithstanding or not blocking, because we spent plenty of time in Winter Park. We've spent plenty of time in Maitland. We spent plenty of time in Altamont and Orlando. Notwithstanding those experiences, because we do want our babies to be cultured and diverse and be able to go into different spaces and be authentically themselves, but still be able to be successful. But I want my baby to see the carnival, to see Ponchos, to see Max Auto Garage, to see the things that made Eatonville. So it's my responsibility to show up, to listen to what's being said, and to advocate for the people that couldn't make it or wouldn't come, didn't have any value in coming. Even now, people are like, I'm not coming to the council meeting. Okay, well, I bring the council meeting to you. You don't want to come? Okay, go on YouTube. Oh, you don't know if you want to listen today? Go to the town website, pull up the minutes and agenda, look at the agenda to see, okay, they talking about waterworks today. I don't really care about that. They talking about a new park. Okay, I might want to hear what's up with that. Let me tune in tonight. Let me see what Mayor Critton has to say. Let me see what Councilwoman Randolph has to say. Let me see what Vice Mayor Thomas has to say. Let me see what Councilman Mack has to say if he's going to come back and coach the football team. Let me see what Councilwoman Jordan has to say if they're going to bring back the drum corps, if they're going to bring back the tennis program. Let me go see what's being talked about so that when it happens, I can show up.
One thing you need to address with the people, please, is tell them what the I don't even know, but let us know what the portables are in Catalina Park and what their mission is. 'Cause
Hot seat.
this every day.
The what?
Hot seat.
The portables.
So there is what they call a prefabricated building down in Catalina Park right now. It is a result of the town seeking grant funding for community policing initiatives. And that project predates my appointment to any board or the council. But as I understand and understood it, the intent of administration was, at its most simplest form, was bathrooms in Catalina Park. There were council people that were witnessing children without those resources either have to run all the way back to Greens Inn to go use the bathroom or pee right in the bushes. So the heartstring pull was the babies don't have a restroom. The fellas that sit out underneath the pavilions, they don't have anywhere to go. The ladies don't have anywhere to go. So that was the simplest form, as I understand it, of the pursuance of those grant dollars. And I'll be very transparent because accountability is at the top of my character list. The due diligence that it takes to apply for and administer grants may not have played in our favor. And y'all bear with me. My words, not my words. But as I understand it, the original request went out and was denied, and then the request had to be amended. And then because we delayed a bit, we did not get to take full advantage of what could have been. As it stands right now, that building is set to provide a space with bathrooms that will house community policing initiatives. And that can be a wide variety of things. Chief Murray has been very flexible, at least in conversation with myself, about what we can do down there and what we can't do. Because it is a grant and because they are federal dollars, we do have responsibilities and restrictions that we do have to abide by. Y'all, we have to follow the rules. We don't like the rules and we need to show up and change them. In the meantime, that building, again, can be used for community policing initiatives. So, for example, if we're having a buyback event where we're buying guns off the street, you can host it there. Maybe we could throw a little party in the park. But the facility is to be used for community policing initiatives. And I encourage us to go sit with the chief and say, well, what can we really do out there? How can we really leverage that building?
Yeah. So Edenville, y'all get with the chief.
I'm gonna put the chief on blast.
Y'all
He gonna
get
be
with
hot
Chief
with me. I'm gonna give
Edenville.
him a call when I leave. Let them know they gonna call.
nah.
But
Chief, come tell us something.
Now, Mayor Ruthie, I know since pre-election and post-election, you probably been getting phone calls from new cousins and you know what I'm saying? Cuz, you remember me? You know what I'm saying? And I know sometimes the head could float, but I don't see you floating like that. So what keeps you grounded?
prayer first and foremost. Y'all know Ruthi Critton is a pastor, and Mumu was a strong prayer warrior. So my spiritual roots definitely keep me grounded, and then just my love for the community as I knew it. Again, that standard of excellence is the why, right? Like this is what I want to give to my son, is an amazing Eatonville. So in spite of all the differences of opinions and you know, the additional meetings that we've probably had more meetings in the last 5 to 6 weeks than I can attest to in maybe a year's worth of service on the Community Redevelopment Board. And that's okay because we need to talk. Do y'all want to argue? Because we can.
I know that's
As
right.
long as that means that we get to the center, as long as that means that we get to the corner of Kennedy and Wymore.
I know that's right.
You can call it they, you can call it majority, as long as we get to the middle. But I think just the desire to see that golden era of Eatonville is definitely what I float back to when I say, okay, are you being intentional with your decisions? Are you being are you educating yourself on how to get there? Are you considering your constituents? when you make those decisions, that's keeping me grounded.
All right. Now we're about to wrap it up. Before we wrap it up, I want to ask all y'all one question. And you can answer however y'all see fit. Ain't no trick question, none of that. But we've been speaking on black excellence, bringing black excellence back to the community. I just want y'all to give the people one form of excellence that they can provide to the community.
Love. That's just something, that's a wave I've been on for, quite some time now. I've been talking to Brian about it a lot. And we got to get back to just pouring out love, man. You got to pour out love. And I want everybody I don't care what we go through in terms of us not seeing eye to eye. That don't dampen my love for you. So I love Eatonville. I love myself first. You know what I'm saying? So if I got to love, if loving me allow me to love others. So push that love. And loving somebody don't make you soft. It don't make you less than, a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Put that love back in the community for me.
All right. Brian?
Okay, I would go with leadership. And so we have Mayor Ruthi. She's over us in Eatonville. But that don't mean that we can't conduct ourselves as leaders in the community, which would make it easier for her. Because if we doing what we supposed to do, it puts less stress on her. It put less bad eyeballs on her administration. So I would say act like leaders in the community.
I'm going to go with, you took mine. You should have known that was going to be mine. I'm going to go with example and ensample. The excellence of an example is showing what worked. And that's something that we have to live daily. That's something those are choices that we have to make, things that we have to do. When you make decisions that affect Eatonville or just daily life in Eatonville, let it be an example to how, an example of how, we can maintain and sustain that excellence. Showing, not just saying, but doing the things that produce that excellence. Not just, it's like you said with the leadership. We all play a role. So if I'm the best father that I can be, if I'm the best husband that I can be, if I'm the best wife that I can be, if I'm the best friend that I can be, if I'm the best mayor that I can be, let me lead with an example. Let me be an ensample so you see directly from the inside how we can accomplish that excellence.
That's what's up. And I'm going to have to say unity. We've been speaking on equality, equal rights, and whatnot. But in my opinion, and this one here for you, Mayor Ruthi, from Greater Than, unity greater than equality.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying? So when we truly pass that over to, when we truly come together and unite,
Thank
know what I'm
you.
saying?
Wow.
We don't need all that equality shit. I'm trying to keep it. We don't need all that equality. When we unite, y'all gonna see the power that lies within the unity. The power of running off the developers like we done did before. You know what I'm saying? The power of regaining the financial position that we really deserve to be at. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like once we unite as a people and as a community, then you can't see nothing but true growth. You know what I'm saying?
Can't stop us.
So that'll go back to that means we got to institute the literacy. So
That's right.
in order for, we can love from a standpoint of really not being literate. But when it comes to leadership, when it comes to being able to give examples of excellence, our literacy rate gonna have to go through the roof. Our everyday people, excellence gonna have to be your bare requirement. That's our base requirement, is that you excellent.
Yeah.
And the only way you're gonna be excellent, and that's a base requirement, but our literacy level gonna have to be over the top. We're gonna have to really be able to understand some things, and that's for the everyday common folk.
Yeah.
Gonna have to really be able to understand some things they don't understand. Yeah.
Well, Miss Ruthi, Mayor Ruthi Critton, we
Yeah.
appreciate you. We definitely feel blessed that you came to sit down and speak with us, open up a little bit with us, and congratulations, and we there for you.
Yep.
Can I give a shout out?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. To everything.
Shout
you
out,
come
of course, to the town of Eatonville, to the voters that came out and said what they wanted. The civic engagement is paramount to the identity of Eatonville. Without those votes, we would not have incorporated. And I think that that's extremely important. So huge shout out to the town of Eatonville, to our voters, to those of us who want to stay engaged, to our current and our past leadership, and to the future, to the next generation of leaders, to the next generation of Eatonvillians. Shout out to them too.
Oh, before you go, let them know where they can go on that website you were speaking on.
So, of course, www.townofeatonville.org is your fundamental base for everything Eatonville. Please bear with us. We are working on making sure that that stays up to date, that you guys have the information that you need. Additionally, I encourage everybody to check out www.envisioneatonville.com. Again, ENVISIONEATONVILLE.com to see what's been said. I encourage you to take a look at it, write what you like, write what you don't like. Come talk to an elected official. Come talk to myself or somebody on staff to kind of express your satisfaction or dissatisfaction with what you see. Let us take that to the table and continue the conversation.
Quick question: is that the same site to go on if you want us to donate like the $10 a month to the town, or is that something different?
That would have to be something different. I'm not familiar.
No, I heard Chad McKendrick, Mr. McKendrick, talking about it at the Zora Neal. He was saying something like a program if you want to donate.
That's going through.
That's
$10.
probably-
PEC? Is that through PEC?
I'm not for sure. I have to check on it. I was making sure it wasn't the same site.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But thank y'all for joining us. It's been another episode. Y'all want to argue? Pitt, man,
J.
Root,
Roop, 1887.
man, great, the great debater.
Great debate.
Yeah, Brian and Mel Ruthi. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining
having
us.
me.